Alright, well, why don't we begin our second character? We are going to make a character, a cleric character, in the domain of love, as it was presented in the original subclasses too. Remember, we talked about it last night. There are considerations. If you don't like that this is called love, call it leadership. Call it. There's a couple other names that I think we came up with. Though, why don't we take on the challenge? And I would urge you, if you're watching this and you were someone who did not like this concept, or just you're fine with everything except that it was called love or whatever, let's see what happens if we make a character with how this was initially, I'd say initially published, how it was leaked, how it was play tested, leaked. There are no coincidences, my friends. Did Wizards know they had a hot potato, and so they accidentally leaked it because Subclasses 1 was called Subclasses 1, which was a departure from how they labeled all of the other Unearthed Arcana, thereby people going, well, I wonder if there's a Subclasses 2, and then they found it, and that turned out to have a controversial piece of mechanics in it that then was retracted before the official one. Here, I have the Illuminati. There we go. I did my duty. I did my duty. Yeah, you can call it passion, even. I think because passion is a more directed sense, much like the love is more of maybe a receptive or a flowing thing. Passion tends to be an imposition of energy and affection. All right, so we know that. And by the way, if any of you want to lock in certain roles for this character, remember, you can spend inspiration points down below. If you want race, if you want age, if you want personality traits, ideal bond, flaw, feats or ASIs, that kind of a thing. And hello, Donnie Sorrow. Great to see you, sir. But we know for sure that we're going to be making a cleric of love at level 20. And we can get to it, huh? Doing very well. We've had an excellent week so far, Donnie. And we're finishing up with this second character in this playtest material. Nope, no one's... you're the only one who's locked in something so far, Chris. So everything else is open beyond race. Yes, indeed, a love cleric. And we can explore this in, well, I mean, is it of passion, of lust? Is it of, sort of a fraternal or even a platonic kind of love? Let's find out. Let's see who our character is. And let's see if we apply what was presented, if this is just an unworkable, unplayable thing. Here is our roller. We're still going to stick to the player's handbook with this, keeping it concentrated. We have a lot of context built up with what we already know for the existing backgrounds and the 9 core races, and so we'll go from there. Donnie, if you could do me a favor, will you please type ! roll space 1d100. Rolled a 6. So we have a female character. And now there was a request to roll for race. Chris, will you please roll a d9? Another, ooh, a 5. Interesting. All right. So now we have a female half-elf. And let's have... You Will Never Know. Can you please roll a d10 in chat? If it's 1 through 5, she favors her human descent. If it is 6 through 10, she favors her elven. We may have lost You Will Never Know. All right. In that case, who else can I call upon? Daytree. Daytree, are you there? Can you roll a d10 in chat? Favors human. All right. Hey, Death. All right, we do not have alignment. Death, help us find our alignment. Will you roll a D100 in chat, please? "91. She is chaotic evil." We already know our character level. Now, to determine if we're going to be taking ability score improvements or feats, Selene, will you roll a D100 in chat, please? And if there's anyone else out there, like Fluffy Sheep, I don't know if you're still hanging around, or GM Vault, if you'd like to get in on some rolls too, please let me know. A 33, so we're going to take all stat bumps. The background was asked for also by you, Selene. Selene, will you please roll a D18 in chat? Rolled a 12, a noble, in particular, a knight. That means we could possibly have the background of position of privilege or retainers. But there are no other special rolls for that. Selene, you also had asked to roll for Ideal, Bond, and Flaw, so please give me a 3d6, and oh sheeps, will you please roll 2d8 to determine the personality traits of our Knight of Love. One and 7. And then I just need the 3d6 from Selene for the Ideal, Bond, and Flaw. 4, 1, 2. All right. Yes, a soldier versus a knight. You know what? I'll preface this by saying this is how we made holidays in the autumn. was by making characters and then basing holidays off of them. This is looking like we might have an interesting basis for not only characters that you could play at the tabletop, but these could be historical or somehow mythological figures that you could base some interesting stories or setting history around. All right, now what is next? We need to determine the age of the character. And let's see. Death, would you please roll a D100 in chat? "23. She is a young adult." Daytree, will you please type exclamation point roll space 1d7 plus 13. And she is 18. All right. Next up, we need to determine her height and her weight. She may be fully, like, as tall as she'll get. Maybe not. Maybe what we can do is roll a 1d8 and a 1d4 instead. And so if we're going to have a little firecracker here, Oh Sheeps, can you roll 1d8 in chat for me? And Chris, can you roll a d4 in chat for me, please? All right, so she is 4'11". She's 4'11" and weighs 116 pounds. All right. Oh, sure. Yeah. Donnie, thank you for taking a second to stop by and say hi. It's great to have you. It's great to have you here. But do what you gotta do, and I'm sure I'll see you around. She is, yes. There we go. All right. We have the prompt for our cleric. And it is now time. It is now time to explore who she is. What does she do? How does she do it? What has her life been like to this point? Such that we have someone born of two different races, and she has either been blessed by a god or goddess, or has pursued this path through an education of some kind. And here we have who we have. And what has led her here. If she is a knight, her background is a noble, in particular a knight, meaning that she's not so much of the executive branch, but more of the, legislative. She's more of the executive branch. She may have received some training. She may have been given duties to go out amongst the populace and, well, to do things like spread the word, or to serve the population, to inspire them, or to do works in the name of the faith. She is most likely from a noble family, and if she's not the one in line to inherit, you have to understand with the succession, at least how it used to be, you know, the eldest male child was really the next in line to be the noble. then like the second oldest son would go into the military, the third oldest son would go into the clergy, or vice versa. In that way, a noble family would have participants in these different realms, as well as preserve its own bloodline. And so here we have someone who was trained, or by circumstance of her birth, is in this knightly go out and serve position, instead of to be the one to stay in the household and to hold counsel and to do things along those lines. And it seems that the path that she was set upon to go receive training took her to some kind of a nunnery, or, you know, some kind of a facility, or just somewhere along the way, she had invoked a god or goddess of love. Yeah, and there's also multiple points of influence too. That's right. It's, you know, it's no accident that all the noble families were sending, you know, relatives into these cultural institutions. And so here, because we did talk about, you know, what is the nature of love, and even the subclass itself, it exists in many forms: compassion, infatuation, friendly affection, and even passionate love. Is she a woman of passion? Now, do we have to talk that this is sexual expression, that this is eroticism or something along those lines? Is she a temptress that tries to lure men and women into, you know, new realms that perhaps hithertofore went yet unexplored? Possibly. In this case, we need some cultural context. What is, you know, is there one or several gods or goddesses of love? Is it perhaps one facet of just such a deity, where it's one deity, but there are several approaches to take? There are several forms. You know, it could be kind of like a triumvirate that many of us are probably familiar with in regards to Christianity. Does love require, you know, 3 different aspects? I don't know, but these are questions to bring up when you're making a character. These are things to talk to with your DM about. Chaotic evil. This could very well mean that she is manipulative. She could be actually serving a purpose if she was chosen by a deity to actually toy with the hearts of men and women. You could take that, well, ultimately it will bolster them and make them know true love and not just, you know, passion. So she's actually doing good things by doing, you know, by sowing temptation and discord through a populace. Is she chaotic evil in the fact that perhaps she is actually as pure as the wind-driven snow, you know, in forms of physicality, or even how she carries herself, you know, the words that she uses, and yet she is a manifestation of this kind of denial of to people, where she must remain like this. And so, you know, she's a creature of impulse. And even the suppression of impulse doesn't mean that you don't have like impulses or impulsive behavior. And evil is simply, she is more selfish. And whether we like it or not, forms of love, I'm not saying like love as an entire whole overarching institution is as such, but there are selfish forms as well. You know, where she gets what she wants, or she does what she wishes to do. You know, this could be simply something that she will go around the populace, and people will buy her bathwater because they see her as a holy figure. And when she rolls into town, she will sell her bathwater to very thirsty individuals who need that kind of refreshment. You know, maybe in this day and time, being a prayer girl is, you know, it's just not seen, and so this is it's not novel. 12-sided guy, indeed, selfish forms of love, and you eye your chicken nuggets. No. She sows chaos in the realm by causing adulterous strife. So, you know, especially if she's come from a noble family, she could again also just be an agent of some divine being as well. So there's a lot of ways that we can look at this. You know, we have, if you look, kind of the two sides of the coin. We have the old, stern, by the book, unity. We tough this out. We do it. I don't care. It's going to happen. Here we have the young, impulsive feature of things that can bond us, but it's more on a whimsical scale than an organized scale. All right, we're going to go to the Player's Handbook and Chapter 4. Noble, and in particular, Knight. There we go. We're going to start with our background, history, and persuasion. Are going to be our background skills. History and persuasion, and we're also going to be proficient with some kind of a game set. Chris, can you please roll a d4? And we're also going to get a language of our choice. So that's going to give us Common, Elven, one other from being a half-elf, and one other from being a noble. Then we're going to get a set of fine clothes. We are going to get a signet ring. We're going to get a scroll of pedigree or some other proof that we are who we are. And this could very well be a trinket. So we'll call this a pedigree trinket. And that's going to be number something here. 12-sided guy, would you please type !roll space 1D100? You rolled a 3, and let's check out what a 3 is very quickly. 3 is a playing card set. She's good with cards. And the pedigree trinket is going to be number 29, and we'll discover what that is at the end of the character creation to see if it's a case of it writes itself. And what are you hoping for with the cards? Do you see her playing cards as a form of symbolism, or how does this complete the character for you, 12-sided? All right, now, we'll decide her background feature, either position of privilege or retainers, I think after we discover more about her personality. Personality trait number 1. My eloquent flattery makes everyone I talk to feel like the most wonderful and important person in the world. And number 7, my favor, once lost, is lost forever. As a form of tarot. So that would be doing things like reading fortunes, especially about love, luck, friendships and the like. Alright, so her personality. My eloquent flattery makes everyone I talk to feel like the most wonderful and important person in the world. And my favor, once lost, is lost forever. If you slight her, she'll forget about you. She might even trash talk you or something along those lines. Favor has been lost forever, resulting in a possible alignment shift. Can you explain that a little further, Chris? Her ideal is number 4. Power. If I can attain more power, no one will tell me what to do. If I can attain more power, no one will tell me what to do. Oh no, this is if you make her upset, forget it. She's gonna break ties with you, break bonds with you. Her bond is number 1. I will face any challenge to win the approval of my family. Is she in a rebellious phase? You know, she's still young enough. Is she in a rebellious phase where she's struck out? You know, being like, you know, mom or dad, you know, they kept telling me I can't live this lifestyle. Well, you know, I'll show them because, you know, while we're rebelling, we actually want their approval. We want them to accept us. We're going to become powerful and influential. We are a conduit for this god or goddess's will in this world. Plus, think of high rollers who are smitten with her, and she's picked up some tricks along the way. Lady Luck and Love. Ah, all right. She holds a grudge. And number 2, her flaw. I hide a truly scandalous secret that could ruin my family forever. This is a flaw. This is also an interesting piece of world building. Does the secret involve her, or is she just the retainer? Did she see and hear something that she ought not to have? But she carries that around. Maybe that's even what is causing this rebellious streak to strike out. Or feelings of guilt that she tries to suppress by living a life of, you know, kind of a free, like free-loving, traveling across. I don't care who I hurt, you know, because people are here for me. I come from a noble family, and I am invoking, you know, I was given these powers. What do mom and dad know? You know, I have these powers of love. And by the way, for any of you out there, if you did not like that this was called love, hear me out. In this context, with a character like this character can learn through maybe some kind of redemption arc what the actual meaning of love is. And that, yes, there is a god or goddess that granted her these powers, and they did so that she would become a better person and go on to do greater things. Of course, you then have people question, well, why would a god or goddess do cruel things? Such as give a young woman, a capricious young woman, the ability to hold life and death in her hands. Oh, yeah, Sheeps. Sheeps, did you catch any of last night's broadcast by chance? Because you are absolutely correct. And so we have a character here who... You were asleep? That's fine. I hope you slept... You know what? I should have... I should have had a discussion. Well, not a discussion. I should have let you and Darkwolf know what ended up happening last night. It's nothing terrible, and nothing you shouldn't lose sleep over. But last night was interesting because not only was it a really compelling conversation, because people did not like that this was the domain of love as presented, but after that we had a redemption arc for someone, and it was very good. It was very good. So yeah, and so this could be a case where, you know, you give a young person this power, and she even begins by abusing it, by teasing people. You know, oh, you want to live? Tell me you love me. You know, I'm an agent of the goddess of love. You know, being braggadocious about this, using her gifts in a spoiled fashion. Then, if you are a wise DM, and you have a wise player that is kind of playing along into this, then the life lesson hits of why love isn't always as capricious a thing as perhaps she thought. Or that consequences actually do catch up with you. Consequences for your actions in some regard. A great person that learns how to not just be great, but also good. I like that, 12-sided. I like that. Hey, New Monica. Talking chaotic evil, New Monica's... Oop, I'm here. All right. We have an idea for her background. We have an idea for who she is. An impulsive young woman has been given these divine gifts and quite possibly is abusing them. And hopefully by the end of her story, she'll have found some kind of peace. You are very... All right, fine. You are lawful evil. We made a lawful evil person first here, New Monica. You should have popped in for that person. But it's all right. I forgive you. Valentine's Day making us all squishy, touchy-feely, making us feel feelings. Now, from this, I should say. From this... I was balancing both ideas for either position of privilege or retainers. Retainers would be followers, people who want to try and earn her love and will follow her through thick and thin to try and earn that affection. And so she uses, you know, she sees this as like, oh, they're in love with me, even though she's not returning it. And so she has retainers that follow her and tend to her and go from there. Or I can still see in her personality where she would use her position of privilege to prove that she can meet with the higher-ups, with the muckety-mucks. And she can, at her young age, go in and influence people in order to show that she holds power even over those of power because she's getting in with her position of privilege. Yeah, so it'd be like her harem following her around. Which to you all sounds like it would be more appropriate for the character as we've defined her. Born into a noble family, not an inheritor, probably, so someone who's kind of brought up you know, not given the focus of the family, not given the traditional training, probably sent off, you know, in this knightly capacity to go to kind of like a finishing school. And this could even be where she prayed, you know, maybe she was good until she got this bad girl streak or something. She prayed hard that she wanted a miracle, she wanted power, because she would never have it as because she wasn't the firstborn or whatever. position of privilege to play into the cards. So she may very well have admirers, but they're not following her around on the road. It's just that they swarm around her when she's around in public, but she can kind of shake them. Go for the high rollers. So Selene saying retainers. 12-sided's going for position of privilege. Daytree, Ophelia after being spurned and sent to the nunnery. Would that mean... shoot, how does that line go? Away with thee to the nunnery? Something like that. All right. So Daytree, do you want to be a tiebreaker here? Does she have followers, or does she have a position of privilege? Chris says her ideal drives her to get retainers for the future so she can tell others what to do. If I can attain more power... Oh, okay. All right. Well, I see that. I can see it the other way as well, where if we attain power over individuals by getting an audience, then they can't tell us what to do either. However, I'm hearing 2 followers. I'm hearing 2 followers and a position of privilege. I think either work. You know, 6 to 1 half dozen of the other. Part of it... Oh, Daytree ties it up. Part of it also is if your DM is willing to let you have 3 NPCs. They're supposed to be non-combatants, but it's also more stuff to track. Taking a step out from the meta. There you go. You want her to have a thriving fandom. All right. So we're going to go with retainers, and she's going to have followers. A harem or admirers or whatever that are going to follow her around and are going to are going to fawn over her and worship her as this incarnation of a goddess of love, when in fact, well, and you know what? Again, we're talking youth. We're talking vigor. She may very well have these wanton spells. You know, how it manifests as well, if we're going to talk context, is also what people at your table are comfortable running. You are correct, Chris. Non-combatants doesn't mean that they can't be human shields. And you know what? With as impulsive and selfish as she is, she may very well use them as human shields because she knows she can just get others. Prove your love to me. Go and take care of that bully. You love retainers. You use it on a Beastmaster Ranger to create the Scooby Gang. Ah, da-da-da-da-da-da. I like the idea, though, 12-sided. All right, so we know who she is as a noble, as this, you know, this woman with something to prove and a lot of things to learn also. Yep, there are more pawns than the queen for a reason. As a half-elf, then, we're going to get 30 feet of movement, 15 climb, 15 swim, 0 fly, 60 feet of dark vision. We are going to get advantages on being charmed. So, you know, we ourselves apparently have trouble with being enchanted, which is good and or bad. And we also cannot be magically put to sleep. We are going to get 2 in charisma and then 2 in one other, which I don't know. Maybe she's more in the mix. Maybe not. I don't know. We can put this. Maybe she did get the education and she's all mental stats instead. Remember, she's still a casty type. But if we want, we can... You know, if she does want to wear beautiful armor that also helps exude strength and impose things, maybe she's not afraid of being up in combat either. So she can cast, but she's not afraid of wearing awesome armor and being in the mix. In that case, instead of int, we could make it dex, or we could make it con, or whatever else. And then we get to choose 2 skills. History and Persuasion were given to us by our noble upbringing. And from Cleric, there are I'll just go to it. We're going to get to choose 2 from the Cleric list as well. Well, we already have History and Persuasion, meaning that Insight, Medicine, and Religion are open to us from our 2 Cleric choices, but we also get 2 choices from our upbringing as who we are. So is there anything in her personality that would be reflected in a skill proficiency? We have Persuasion performance, you know, like through religious performance or dance or ways that we're looking to garner attention or to try and earn the love or affection or at least the attention, if not just outright seduction of others. Performance might be a measure of that. Insight could also, but the insight could also just be a cleric one here. Acrobatics, if she is more physical, she might be able to perform various acrobatic feats. Or sleight of hand with cards, or simply with you know, subtle body language could be conveyed through sleight of hand as well, as it's a subconscious physical form of communication. All right, so we have sleight of hand and then performance. And now this is, we've built our half-elf. We have all the goodies from that page. We just made one, so I didn't need to bounce to it in the player's handbook. We're gonna get 5 cantrips. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Our proficiency bonus is a +6. We're gonna know 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, and 1 for our spell slots. We're going to be able to channel divinity 3 times per rest. We are a D8 hit die class, and so we get 20 D8 that we can spend on rests to recover ourselves. Our armor proficiencies are going to be light, medium, and shields. Simple weapons as proficiencies. No tool proficiencies, wisdom and charisma are our save proficiencies. And now we get to choose 2 from insight, medicine, or religion. Insight, medicine, or religion. Insight would let us look into the emotions and intentions of people. I think that could be, yeah, 12-sided. I think that's a strong contender. Medicine, perhaps, if she has the healing touch. And remember, medicine could also be psychological, not just physical. Religion could, if she was trained in religion, that could be also what is perpetuating her self-importance and is setting her up to learn this ultimate lesson. That she may not actually be the second incarnation of this god or goddess. Okay. Equipment, again, I don't know. Our armor class, I don't know. She could use a shield. Maybe she doesn't. It could be magical. It could not be. I'm not worried about the starting equipment here. And what we're going to get now, if we come over here, I can just do a quick little copy paste, because clerics, just clerics, do not get a lot from their class. They get Channel Divinity, Turn, which becomes Destroy Undead. However, we're not going to get our second channel until our archetype. We are going to get Divine Intervention. Now that we have this loaded, we can come down here to what was the major point of contention outside of arguably the heavy enchantment spell list, which I don't personally have a problem with. You know, the fluff on the spells can very easily be described a different way. Impulsive Infatuation is what many people had a problem with, and why this was a part of a love domain. In the case of the character we made, perhaps this is, you know, this is a god that's allowing this sort of behavior to happen, because it could lead to an ultimate life lesson, to a comeuppance in some way. Hey, Diadems, welcome. And so instead of shared burden, we get Impulsive Infatuation. You can use your channel divinity to overwhelm a creature with a flash of short-lived but intense admiration for you, driving them to rash action in your defense. As an action, you present your holy symbol and choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of you. That creature must make a wisdom saving throw. A creature can choose to fail the saving throw if it wishes. On a success, the creature's unaffected. On a failure, the creature is charmed by you until the start of your next turn, and it must immediately use its reaction to make a weapon attack against a target you designate. If there are no valid targets, it uses its reaction to admire you. And in summary, because we touched on it last night, the qualm here is you're calling something love when mechanically in D&D, you are able to flash the symbol of your god and have someone murder someone else for you. That is an extrapolation of what could happen. Could be hyperbolic. Is it still possible? Yeah. For the character that we have randomly rolled into, if you consider this to be an abuse of love, a concept of love of some variety, this is very appropriate for this character. Especially if it's going to be used as a learning lesson for her. Yes, every round she spends casting is actually 1 minute of ritual time. Now, for the other bits of her subclass, nothing was changed between love and unity. So we still have Emboldening Bond that lets us connect ourselves to another or to others that aren't us, and has an ongoing hour-long D4 per turn roll for various things, attack rolls, saves, and checks. Protective Bond is still the same. You can use your reaction to grant resistance to all damage to the other creature when that other creature takes damage. And Enduring Unity. This is, if you share, it's not even 30 feet, it's on the same plane of existence. And you get a lot more options here. And so I'm going to go over and I'm simply going to copy this over. And we have potent spell casting as well. We add our wisdom modifier to the damage we deal with a cleric cantrip, because we are more of a casty cleric. Does it state anywhere if that divinity is verbal or somatic? The channel divinity? On the baseline, no. But it is implied because you have to present. Yeah, you have to. Well, it does say you have to present your symbol. So in this case, as an action, you present your holy symbol and choose a creature you can see within 30 feet of you. Yeah, now if you want to shout out some, you know, summoning word of power, or maybe your DM says, this is how I roll, my clerics all have to shout something, it'll be contextual at the table, but this does say you have to present it how your DM would, yeah, I mean, maybe you could just sort of, you know, like, flash the badge, and then, you know, is it that they have to, you know, for the two people you're targeting, do they just have to both see your symbol? In which case you kind of go, show the symbol and cover it back up? Or, you know, talk to your DM. Your mileage may vary. Now, this one does have a verbal component in this case, because not only must you present your holy symbol, but you must speak a prayer censuring the undead. So it's really going to depend on which channel divinity. So, there you go. Not a bad question. Unless Daily the mean DM is your... is your dungeon master. Daily just got caught. Is Daily even here? No. So D-Dums is getting away with this. So there we go. Everyone, we did it. We got over the huge speed bump, the moral gray area of impulsive infatuation with the love domain, and we survived. We found a way to make it character appropriate. And you know what? Even for as much as I'm talking about, is this a redemption arc for this character? What if this character just goes on and, you know, she just lives her life and this is it? You know, is it kind of a laissez-faire kind of people are going to do what they're going to do. They're either going to get hurt or they're going to enjoy it. People want to join her harem. They're doing so willingly. Is everyone happy and having fun? Hey, there you go. So in this case, define it. Use your own knowledge and experience to go about it. All right, it is now time to give her a set of scores that will help define... Actually, hang on, I'm sorry. Gotta come in here real quick. She is... Ooh, pardon me. She's getting some domain spells. I forgot to list those. And while I'm here, I might as well populate the spell sheet. One moment here. I do this for you all. We cast off of Wisdom, and we can channel Divinity 3 times per rest. We're preparing spells as a Cleric, and so spells prepared equal our Cleric level plus our Wisdom modifier. We come down here. Domain. And we get domain spells through level 5. Now for the love domain, I can't simply copy those spells from Unity. While they do share one spell each, the enchantment spells were swapped out more for things like abjuration. We're gonna get Charm Person and Heroism. We're going to get Enthrall and Warding Bond. We're going to get Beacon of Hope and Hypnotic Pattern. We're going to get Aura of Purity and Confusion. We're going to get Greater Restoration and Hold Monster. There we go. Now we come back up and let's distribute her ability scores from the standard array. You know, Charisma and Wisdom, I think we have a very strong Charisma Wisdom again. from here, she is still young. If she was going to school or she was receiving some knight's training to be able to wield some simple weapons, you know, or even it kind of bled over into cleric, then perhaps she is more dexterous than the old drill sergeant above. 12, 10, and 8. What do you all think about this distribution for the characters we've defined her? 15 wisdom, 14 charisma. It'll be a 16 and a 16. But we have our 15, 14, 13 dex, 12 int, 10 con, 8 strength. Daytree and Chris, that's what you like? All right. So this is going to give her a 14 dex. This is going to give her a 16 wisdom and a 16 charisma. This is, now we have 10 points that we can spread around wherever we want to put them. Taking her wisdom up, as she is, I think we have a heavy case here that wisdom and charisma can both be maxed out, and that will consume 8 of our points. And our last one, probably, you know, if she's only 18, I don't know if we would bump up her intelligence. We could bump up her dexterity so she's better at her sleight of hand tricks. And remember, simple weapons could also be things like archery if she did want to use that, or some other weapons. This could also mean that she does wear more her armor better. And while medium armor would be capped out, unless there's a feat that she could have taken otherwise. But we could put her dex to a 16 because that would also help her gracefully tumble out of the way of fireballs and the like. Or we could drop that last 2 into Constitution and give her a little bit more, you know, give her a little bit more sturdiness. And maybe, and you know what, if she's traveling on the road a lot, or the like, I mean, I don't know, unless she's being carried around in a palanquin or something, you know, maybe she does know how to ride a horse, and so she's. Chris, you're thinking 20 charisma, 18 wisdom, and 18 dex. And just so you all know, I'm fine not maxing out wisdom for this character. Just because you can go to 20 doesn't always mean that you have to. Remember, we've made warlocks with 10 charisma, and they're absolutely functional. In fact, dare I say, this could even be a type of cleric who would actually have a low wisdom. But she does have a lot of spells that require saves. She does want that assertion of power, meaning that there would be a contest of wills. I don't know. So thematically, she's pretty young for maxing wisdom. So we max out charisma. 1, 2, 3, 4. We drop 2 in wisdom. And then dexterity actually shoots up to an 18. Or do you want to at least give her... do you want to give her some constitution? Or is she more of the hoity-toity, you know, she doesn't eat a lot. She eats enough to keep her figure kind of a thing. She doesn't do a lot of her own traveling. So she doesn't actually have to be... to have a tough constitution? Well, and in fairness, everyone remember, 10 is like... A 10 intelligence, really a 10 in anything, is like a high school graduate. And honestly, that's what she is. The fact she has things over 10 is actually a compliment to her. She likes using a bow? Well, I mean, if she's using a bow instead of her spells, not that that's a bad thing. Though, you know, learning some self-protection, learning some weapons by her knight training, learning to use her armor better, I can see this as a part of it as well. She might consider herself a knight of love. So Daytree, would you like to see her with a little bit more con? Or are you fine going like, she's not the hit point tank the other character is, but she's an AC tank? That leaves 98 cents left over. No, I get it. This is a great conversation, Chris. Death, do you have a suggestion? We have 4 points. Where would you like to see him go? You know, this, especially for the sleight of hand and the cards, absolutely, I can see it, and for the combat. Charisma's already maxed out. We can't put any more into it. And also, if you all download this character sheet off Discord later, you could swap this around and have her be built however you want. Oh, and con. Alright. We'll put Dex up to 16 and con to 12. And that'll clear out her ability score improvements. And again, if you wanna tweak this character at home, go ahead. -1 strength, 3 dex, 1 con, 1 int, 4 wisdom, 5 charisma. That's gonna be a -1 here. 3 save, 3 acrobatics, 3 stealth, but a 9 sleight of hand. 1 con. Intelligences are 1 down the line except history, which is 7, religion, which is 7. Wisdom saving throw is 10, insight is 10, everything else is 4. And then charisma saving throw is 11, performance and persuasions are 11, intimidation and deception is 5. Passive perception's 14, as that's 10 plus our perception modifier, and that represents the natural awareness that we have, just without having to particularly pay attention. Our initiative is in a dex check, and so we have a +3. Again, our armor class, whatever you want her to have. Hit points, 8 at level 1. Then for the 19 other levels, we get half +1 of our hit die. Then for all 20 levels, we get bonus hit points equal to our Constitution modifier. Doing the simple math, that is 20, that is 95. And so that's 123 hit points at level 20. If she attacks with a strength weapon, she's swinging at a +5. If she's attacking with a dex weapon, that's at a +9. If she's using her magic, that is a +10. And to save against it, the target needs an 18 or better. Alright, she is no longer a set of numbers. She has earned a name. And now we come down to the spell portion. It was 18 to save, +10 to hit, and we can prepare a number of spells equal to our cleric level 20, plus our wisdom modifier, which is 4. So she can prepare 24 spells over the 9 levels that she can cast within. And she could change it up when she gets up and prays for her spells. Maybe against disease? As a cleric, she could just remove that with a spell. Maybe, you know, maybe she is concerned about it, or maybe she's not. And that could play into, again, if you're empowering a young person, regardless of boy or girl, with the ability to freely express themselves without fear of disease, then, you know, they will do so. Or they might be more likely to do so because the consequences are immediately removed. And then something happens where if you wish to explore a life lesson, then you can do so. Ursula. While you are thinking of that, the last part here, if you remember, she is carrying around some sort of proof that she belongs to the noble family from whence she came. And that manifested in the form of a trinket of some kind she carries around. It could be heraldry, it could be colors, it could be even just a precious toy with an insignia or something. Let's find out what the trinket number 29 is. And we'll see if we got something that's really cool and uncanny. 29. A pair of old socks. A pair of old socks. So, what does this mean? Are they kind of magical socks? Or are they, I don't know, are they like her first pair of socks and she remembers when she was a kid? Because she's trying to desperately hold on to that as she gets older? Are those actually then socks from someone that she admires or loves? It could have been a first boyfriend and she's kind of hanging on to him, you know, like the old perfumed handkerchief given as a favor from a princess to a knight. Oh, the socks are tied to the dark secret. Oh. Daytree. All right. Everyone, give Daytree some big brain energy, please. Intrigue. Yeah. So we carried around... So it's proof that we are members of our family in that regard. Ah, there's a lot of possibilities. Daytree's getting that big brain energy, though. I hope that emote shows up well enough for you all. You know, I was working with coffee on it, and I like that it's really colorful. But you know, if feedback is welcome on it. If that conveys electricity and big brain energy, then let me know. But yeah, I like how that could be that could tie into the intrigue. You know, is it something that there was ex-lover reason she was sent away, and the reason she said, oh, so she was scorned and is kind of taking that out. Maybe her prayer was answered by being gifted these powers by a deity, but ultimately, because the deity is one of love, the lesson had to be learned in an environment which did allow for pain, but also for the amelioration of the pain. And so ultimately, we have someone who is given the power of love. It might have turned more into lust or passion. And then ultimately, the redemption of the concept of love was found out when perhaps she seeks closure or forgiveness, or she just finally lets the pair of socks go that she's been carrying around. You know, the greatest burden she bears, not because she has an 8 strength score, is the pair of socks. A simple pair of socks is the heaviest thing that she carries with her. Oh, yeah. What's he doing? Who's he with? Yeah. And I do want to make a point. There's a lot of things that we could do to take things into meme territory, or that, you know, this is a character that can be used as an example or like as a cartoon to present something. And I have tried very hard to stick to the concept of good characters can make jokes. Good jokes don't make good character. Did I mess that up? I think you get what I'm saying, though. Characters can make jokes. Jokes don't make characters. And because I think this is absolutely a playable and even a serious character. Just because she has a wanton personality and is kind of flippant. And, you know, we kind of like, you know, smirk and go, ha. So she has it's kind of a reverse harem where, you know, a bunch of boys, or boys and girls, I don't know, are chasing after her. Though we still have a fully developed character. We can make decisions based on who she is if you were to pilot her. And that's what I love about our methodology. So yeah, she keeps his socks so she can scry on it because she's obsessed. She can't have his love, so she forces infatuation from others. And yeah, and maybe even on occasion tries to parade. Oh, I have people following me around. And he's absolutely fine with the other person he's with. And she doesn't understand it. Because she has money, she has status, she has followers, whatever. And here, her first love is happy with, I don't know, a simple farm girl. You know, the first love is happy. He might be a noble, but he fell in love with a humble shepherd who cares after his sheep, both O and Fluffy alike. You know, is very near and dear, loves, you know, bless the beasts and children. And so she's absolutely baffled by him because she has the looks. She has the wealth. She wields the command. And her love is happy in this other way. Yeah, if I can't have true love, no one can. Or she pushes people to fall for each other only to break them up later so they can feel her pain. Yes. And Shukan, welcome to the land of the waking. I like you all. Oh my goodness. The ideas we came up with, and look at this. We made a character that handled a topic which made a lot of other D&D players angry or somehow upset or inconsolable or filled with rage. We took the concept, we treated it not as a joke, but we treated it as if this is a part of a person. And how does this person express this kind of mechanics through an organic personality? You know, through a not joke. I like it.